Howdy everybody. Thought I'd do a quick how-to on this chicken water that I'm building. I'm putting a, let's see where to put it, a chicken or poultry nipple. I don't know if they're exclusively to chickens. I don't think they'd work very good for a duck, but I could see, I don't know, pheasants or whatever. These are made by the same company as I got those feeders from, Rent-A-Coop, and this is the DIY chicken waterer kit. I think they sell the whole thing, but I'm not into that. I had this old barrel. It's just an old black rain barrel somebody had. I patched a hole with probably more than it cost to get a new barrel, but stuff that I had laying around. So I'm gonna, let's see. It doesn't say, oh, shoulder height for a chicken. It's 8 to 10 inches. And I put them a little lower down than that sometimes because I like to put the thing up on something, put the barrel up on blocks or something like that to kind of get a little space between it and the ground. Maybe prevent some heat loss there, and otherwise it kind of gets disgusting. And they drip just a little bit of water, so you'll actually get a soft spot and it'll kind of fall over a little bit if you do that. So I'm going to show you how these things go on. Okay, so this is my barrel. It says 8 to 10 inches. So 10 would be up there, and I don't want to work through that anyway, so I'm going to go down. And I vary the height a little bit because I have different height chickens. And sometimes, you know, they like different heights of things. So that's pretty good. So I'll probably start there. I'll go up a little bit and down a little bit, but not much. Maybe vary by 2 inches either way. But I know I can't go above this thing, except maybe up here. But right here, obviously, I can't even get that close. I won't see it. I'd rather have it on a flat deal like that. So I'm going to put that first one right about there. I've got a little drill bit. It's a step bit, which is easy to go too far. Like that. I think that went too far. But sometimes, because it is if you look at it, it's actually a little bit of an angle, and I didn't go all the way in. And then I've got this, comes with this tool to screw it in with, which is just a little black plastic deal. Oops. Which really the main thing is, it's not about the power of it, it just lets you hold it straight. Because otherwise it's hard to twist it in and hold everything straight all at the same time. And I may have to on that one, you got to kind of fiddle with them sometimes. They come with this little rubber washer thing. If that's not enough, I've got some silicone over here. Put some silicone on it, but you have to make sure you don't get any on the end. And same with tape. You know, if you're using some tape, like that Teflon tape, you don't want to go too wild on your tape, or it'll get bound up and bound. Okay, this is a thick barrel, so it's kind of hard to get the try something here. Just there we go. If you have vertigo, I apologize. I don't have my I've been using my tripod for something else. Now I do always try to end up with this. If you look at it from that angle, you got one long deal. I always try to end up with that down, so then it pools a little water there for them, and they're more inclined to drink it. So that's actually all there is to it on the nipples. I mean, you put those all the way around, obviously, but I'm gonna belabor that point. Now here is the float setup that I use, which is actually, and I'll take that sticker off, it's actually a float out of a swamp cooler. So as this sticks out the side back here, of course, and as the water comes up, it lifts the valve. As it goes down, it lets it down, and it doesn't give much, but these are like, I don't know, they're $6 or $8, I think. They're a lot cheaper than a lot of other ones, and they last for years, you know, as long as you keep them out of the sun. Of course, that plastic would fail, but that's always inside, so you don't have to worry about it. So this sticks out the side, and then I use one of these and because I'm using airline hose here, so air, like what you use for air hose in your shop. So then this little brass deal goes inside there and goes inside the end of that deal, and then you can screw your air hose directly in there. Because they're a whole lot cheaper than a garden hose, and they work about as well, actually. So if you get the rubber hose, they work the same as far as I can tell. It's not high flow, but well, you're not doing high flow when you're building a waterer. You're making a thing that's just going to kind of dribble in there. You're never going to get more than probably, I don't know, it's going to be like a cup a minute probably, or 2 or 3 cups a minute. It's not much, because as you know, the initial fill takes a long time because it's not much. You might be getting a half a gallon a minute, a gallon a minute at most out of one of those. But as soon as it fills up, of course, it comes down a little bit and it fills right back up, so you don't have to worry about it. Then I'm going to put a 5-gallon bucket heater in there, so it just keeps it from freezing. I think they come on at like 37 degrees. And with that much water, because of the relative climate down here, I don't think I'm actually going to have it come on that much, especially if I put it in the sun. It'll warm up over the course of the day, and that bucket heater might not come on until middle of the night, and just come on once or twice on a chilly night, and that'll of course lower my electric bill. And the thing that will freeze is the hose. So your best bet is to put actually if you put a piece of pipe coming down so it's below the level of everything else, and then you just put a quick shut off there. You shut the water off at your house, and then you just open that up and leave it. So wherever your hose is, I say house because mine's going to be plugged into a spigot on the side of my house. So you shut the water hose off on the house side, then you go back out and you open that quick shut off, and it'll drain all the water out of the hose. And then you don't have to worry about anything freezing. It'll drain it out of the valve also. So then you don't have to worry about anything freezing on the outside, and the bucket heater will keep it from freezing on the inside. And I think that's about it. So hopefully you like it. Here comes my son on his pedal tractor. So looks like it's working. We had to fix the steering wheel, but he's pedaling along now. All right, thanks for watching. Okay, so there's where the spigot comes out. I'll have to tighten that up with a wrench later. I don't have enough hands with me right now. There was a hole down here, so I put way too much effort into making that waterproof. And so here's all the nipples around the outside. I forget exactly how many there are. And since this lid band won't come off without possibly damaging the whole thing, I've still got a couple of things to fill up here. Well, since this won't come off, I took my hole saw and drilled 2 holes here, which I should have taken a video. It's not that hard, but it seems kind of weird when you're doing it. But you got to make sure that you get them out in the right order and all that. Anyhow, so there's that. I got to fill this with something. I'm going to see if the plug for my tank heater will fit through here. Otherwise, I'll probably make it fit and then fill it in around it with something. This is actually, you probably can't, well, maybe. There's a line right here. You can see I drew, so I've got an old 5-gallon bucket lid, and I'm just going to set it on there, probably put a couple of screws in it, put a screw in the middle of that, there's a hole there. Because otherwise I don't want anything to fall in here, is really what it is. It can't be completely airtight, otherwise it wouldn't be able to fill up, obviously, but it couldn't be airtight anyway with those spring-loaded nipples, so it doesn't matter. So there's a little gap around here probably, and then there's going to be some gap here. Because I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to figure out some way to get my 110 volt plug to go through there for the bucket water. And that's the other reason I made this big. Had to get that float in there, which you can't, well, yeah, you can see a little bit. So that's just there. I've got a big washer on the inside, you can see. That is to, let's see if I can focus there again, so that this, well, I'm turning it, but it doesn't flex up and down really there. And then, so what happens, well, that didn't work at all. That float will float up and it'll shut off the water there. And it'll be a pretty good amount of water in there, you can see. I mean, it'll keep it probably about this full. And if I have to adjust it, I can. I tried to make it where it's shut off pretty low compared to that, because I didn't want the water to come out there. So that'll work there. And then one tip, when you do that, set your float before you put it in there, because it's kind of a pain to get in there and tighten it up if you have a barrel like this with no lid, or no way to get the lid off. It's all seized up. So I'm going to put that bucket over there, that bucket lid. I'm going to try to find something to fit in here, because that bucket lid I think I'm going to probably silicone on, but this will let me fill it with water from a hose if I need to. You know, if the thing was to freeze up, you know, the float or whatever. So this will let me fill it with a bucket, or not a bucket, that'd take forever, wouldn't it? A hose. So I'll get something to fit over here, and you know, just put a screw in the side or something. So that'll be easy to get off. It's all messed up. There's no threads left, so I can't get a standard bung. I may be able to do that. Oh, this one might actually. I thought that was seized up. Maybe it was a different one. It turns, but it does not seem like it comes out. Maybe it does. Oh, it is threading up a little bit. Well, that's shot, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah, so never mind. We'll just seal the other one off entirely. Leave that as my possibility, I guess, I suppose. Or I may cut myself another, yeah, that one's just going to fall all the way through. I will probably silicone this whole thing shut and just make myself a flap or something to fit over here so I can fill it if I need, and otherwise nothing falls in it. Or just something that fits in and, you know, sticks. Anyhow, that's all there is to it. If you need something to water your chickens over winter, this is what I hope I recommend. I'll be able to let you know a little better in a few weeks or a couple of months, depending on how the weather turns out here. Here's what the finished product looked like. So I haven't gotten around to the top part, as you can see, because, you know, I've got some bricks up here, but that's holding everything out. And the chickens have done just fine. It's gone through a few nights of being, you know, definitely below freezing, and it hasn't had any problems. I haven't had any burst hoses yet, which is always a positive. If it does, if that explanation that I had made any sense, probably not, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So here it is. Keeping it full. Chickens like it. Cold water is back there. It definitely would have frozen and broken by now. Luckily, when I made it, I was thinking ahead. I put a cap on it right there, drained it all out. So, next summer, might go back to that. Use this one somewhere else, because it could be put on wheels pretty easily. So maybe for the outdoor, or for the chicken runs, or, you know, put it in a chicken tractor or something like that. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Chickens are using this thing, and hopefully this little kind of DIY tutorial was useful to somebody. If so, go ahead and pass it on. Shoot me a message. hit the like button if there is one you can find easily. Share it with somebody else. We're on Facebook at www.facebook.com/AdobeOwlRanch or at AdobeOwlRanch.com. And Adobe is ADOBE. If you can't spell owl, bummer.